So that's what I'm seeing here. We have here the Six of Crystals. This is the Six of Pentacles, okay? Um, and when I look at this deck, I'm looking more at the imagery rather than the specific name of the card. And I feel like someone is on high alert. And I feel that they're standing behind somebody out of this sense of obligation, loyalty. Possibly they're co-opted to take like a specific course of action to support a specific candidate, even though that candidate might not be the best person for the job. Okay. And then we also have here the Six of Cups. Once again, this sense of indebtedness, this sense of like, what I'm feeling is like a really strong connection. And it's a very positive card, but based on everything that I'm seeing in your reading, I feel it's like, birds of a feather flock together. So people who are like-minded tend to just flock together. And because they're around people who think exactly like them, they echo the same sentiments. They finish each other's sentences. They echo the same words, the same themes, the same ideology. And they're not able to think for themselves. So based on this, I feel like in this month, you're going to be that breath of fresh air where you're able to see through, I want to say, through the facade. Okay. And it's really asking you the energy that you embody here. We have the Empress and the Empress. This is a low pressure job. Okay. The Emperor gets all the limelight. The Empress is very soft behind the scenes types of energy. And the way that she embodies this energy, and you can be male or female watching this. If you're a Leo, doesn't matter your gender. The cards are not gender specific, but the energy of the Empress, somebody working behind the scenes, someone without a lot of limelight on them. So they can make mistakes and no one will bat an eye. No one's going to blame them for anything. But with this Empress energy, I feel that, it's a low pressure job. You're in a position where you are advising, giving counsel, or giving somebody information, whatever you're privy to, you're sharing this information with somebody like a confidant, with somebody that you really trust, with somebody that you are standing behind. And you trust this person. Your gut tells you you really trust this person. And so I feel like you're seeing through the chaos that's happening around you, and you're able to maintain your center, and you're able to understand why people say the things that they are, and you're understanding, what incentives they have for coming forward, for supporting this candidate, for wanting this person for the job. And I feel that you're, writing all of this down, taking notes, observing everything that's happening around you. And everyone else is so busy speaking for the candidate, speaking for themselves, bolstering their position, that they're not privy to everything that you're seeing, everything that you're observing, everything that you're able to catch, the micro expressions, the little nuances, the energy changes, the energetic changes in the room. You're able to catch it all. And so you're in a very good position to be able to understand people's motives, understand people's agenda. And what I feel is, if this message resonates with you, if everything that I've said so far resonates with you, it's really asking you to trust your gut. There are things that we know, we feel it, we hear it, we see it, we experience it, we, are able to sense it, right? We can experience it with our senses, or we can just experience it in a very intuitive way. And even if other people don't agree with us, or if other people have never experienced it, they can never wrap their heads around it. It doesn't diminish what you feel. And I feel that the message here is you really need to trust your gut. You really need to be in a position where you trust yourself and, give yourself credit, because the other people, even if they don't support you, even if they don't believe what you have to say, even if they feel that what you're saying is outside of the realm of possibility and they can never give you credit for it, It doesn't diminish what you have experienced. It doesn't, even if people are dismissive, it should not detract you from the things you believe about yourself. We have here the King of Feathers. This is the King of Swords, okay? This is being very decisive. And this is kind of like owning up your power of discernment, your judgment. And it's about logic and justice. The way this energy comes across, it's an air sign, Aquarius, Gemini, and Libra, but the depiction is very much you. So that's why with this deck, I'm pretty much reading the imagery rather than the title. So this is like owning your power, knowing your own truth, and, not wavering just because other people might not agree, just because other people might not have the same experience, just because people might not understand. Okay, so hang on to your truth. You be very clear about, I experienced this. I saw it with my own eyes, and not let other people, tell you otherwise. Okay, so I feel like the message here is really trusting your gut. You're on the right path. Even if other people don't agree with you, it doesn't really matter. What I'm getting as well, we have here the moon. And this is all about, that intuitive side of us, that intuition kicking in, knowing that there's something that's going to happen, like foreshadowing, being very conscientious about, picking up the signs, the signals, the telltale signs that are warning you or telling you something is going to unfold, unravel. So we have here the moon, and it is about imagination and perception. And I also feel here, something tells me, intuition and gut instincts with this combination. It's telling you that you're right. You know what you know because the source is not coming in through a physical form. You're getting intuitive hits. You're getting, like a psychic nudge that what you know is true and you need to stick to your guts. And let's say, if you are facing somebody, okay, and you have some information about some type of wrongdoing, and their method is deny, 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 deny at all costs, and you're coming face to face with this character who might be quite elusive, quite articulate, is willing to, talk around you, and they create confusion. They create, accusations. They might throw your, whatever you have to say back at you. And it makes you very confused. It makes you doubt your theories. It makes you doubt your intuition. It makes you doubt your reality. You saw what you saw, Leos. And I feel like you're doubting your reality because you're dealing with someone who's very muddled, very confusing. And I feel like, they're purposely being confusing. They might be manipulative. They're purposely trying to, distract you. It's like a red herring. It's a distraction from the truth, a distraction to draw attention away from them, a distraction to make you doubt your reality. And so if their tactic has been, evasiveness, half-truths, lying by omission, deflecting, getting defensive and things like that, then that's all the information that you need, that they're the guilty party here. So I'm sensing that you need to stand in your truth. If you are face to face, in confrontation with another person, or you're trying to, tell them what you saw and they're being dismissive, you have to wonder why they're being dismissive. Is it something that they are already aware of, but in self-denial about? So whatever it is, I feel like this is, big. For some of you, I feel like you might have a friend, and that friend might be in a relationship, and you see your friend's relationship partner with another person, and so you're not really sure, like, do I tell my friend? You might decide to tell your friend, and your friend might be in denial. Your friend might be very defensive and not willing to accept this information. So break it to them gently, okay? I feel like your sense of loyalty overrides all because you want what's best for your friend, right? And so you're going to tell your friend this information. For some of you, I feel like it's in a work environment and somebody that you work with is being poached by another company, another organization, or they're interviewing for like another company, like a rival company even, and you're not really sure what to do with that information. And I would say that information should be kept private, okay? Because it's somebody's livelihood. It's different. Do you see how the two scenarios are very different? So it depends on what's at stake. It depends where your loyalties are. And I feel like, with relationships, with friendships, that's where your loyalties lie. And that's something that you need to tell the person. But when it comes to work, even if you're working in an extremely competitive environment and you feel like I have a leg up, I have an advantage here because of this information that I'm privy to, I feel that it's affecting the other person's livelihood. So this is not a situation you want to get involved in. And so use your discretion, use your judgment, but really listen to your intuition, because I also feel like it could be a relationship partner, excuse me. And, their habit is deny, deny, deny. That's their habit. And I do sense for many of you, they might be talking to an ex, they might be reminiscing about an ex, they might be in a relationship, with an ex. And there's perception here. Your intuition is very strong. You sense something is up. You sense that something is wrong. And I feel that you really need to trust your intuition. And you really should discuss this situation and, try to get to the bottom of it. But I do sense that you're dealing with someone who might be evasive. Okay. So enough about that. On the flip side, so moving away from those two imageries where I feel that, there's something that you're privy to, some information. I do sense, first of all, there is a really strong bond here. So this part is going away. And what I have here, this card has fallen out for all the signs. And I do shuffle the cards very thoroughly, but this card has fallen out for all of the signs since I've started using this deck. Okay, so starting with Aries. This is a very strong emotional connection here. We have the King of Cups and the Six of Cups, a very strong soulmate type of energy. This is like twin flame soulmate. Two people who are very identical, very similar, very much alike. And I feel almost like, I feel like there's a relationship here that might be interracial, cross-cultural, or different in some way. So let's say like physically, you might be very different from each other. One person's taller, one person is shorter. Height differences, okay? One person might be very thin, the other person might be a little bit on the heavier side. One person's bald, the other person has really luscious hair. So I feel like there's opposites attract. Like initially it's a physical connection where, there's great attraction and it's opposites attract. But then on a soul level, the two of you are like peas in a pod, okay? So I feel like at first glance, something is not what it seems. At first glance, it's so different. It's so novel and exciting. But at the bottom of it, at the root of it, at the core of it, it's very similar. So I feel like you're, for many of you, you might be in a position where you're meeting somebody who might be a really strong soulmate of yours for this month. And it's telling you, to kind of like take it slow, temperance, doing things in moderation. Okay. And then I'm also seeing this black and white, the stripes. So I'm also feeling like the cross-cultural differences, as well as, possibly being an interracial type of relationship. And I feel that some people might frown upon this, what kind of archaic people we're dealing with. But, they do exist. There are people with their prejudices and with their lack of understanding. There might be people that are frowning upon this, but I do feel like you feel what you feel. and you know what you know. And so, you know, you don't give it any credit. Don't give it any mind. Don't heed it any mind, and don't let other people's narrow-mindedness like affect your perception of yourself, your perception of your partner in any way. So that's what I'm sensing here. And I feel like there is a really strong emotional connection that will really, you know, be tested for this month. Um, and not in the way that you're thinking, but I feel like it's in the way where it's like, are we in this together? If we're in this together, then we can't really let outsiders, you know, uh, tear the relationship apart. We really need to be on the same page. For some of you, it could be like a situation where you have like a difficult child who's trying to drive a wedge in between, because you know children sometimes they know how to turn one parent against another, and it's done in a very innocent way because they're not aware of the ramifications of, you know, long-term um, effects of turning parents against each other. But it's sort of like we have to be united on the same page in order to deal with whatever adversity that's coming our way, whatever is trying to either affect us, our relationship from the outside or from within. And so you have to trust your gut. You have to know exactly what you believe, what you saw, what you feel, whatever it is. You are the keeper of that knowledge. And no matter who comes up to you and tells you you were wrong, you did not see that, you did not experience that, that is not real. Whoever is telling you this, don't give it any weight, because you saw what you saw, you experienced what you experienced. It is real. And if they're trying to dismiss your experience, if they're trying to discredit whatever it is that you're trying to contribute, I just feel like, you know, they're trying to erase something that they feel is a major threat to them and their way of life. And as a result of it, I feel like it's done out of fear. So don't make don't let other people question your reality. Okay? Be very firm, firmly planted. Okay? This is a very heavy bison. It looks like a bison. It looks like a, yeah. It's very heavy. It's not going to be swept away with the wind. Okay, it's firmly planted, and all these signs are pointing towards the gut area. So I'm just like, really listen to your gut. Listen to that ancient wisdom. Okay, these bisons are going extinct here in Northern America. So they have like an animal sanctuary, but they're heavily inbred, which is really sad. Um, anyways, going back to my main point. Stand true to your own knowledge, whatever you've experienced, okay? This ancient wisdom is what I'm sensing here. That can't be, that really can't be shaken. And so I'm going to talk about the last two cards here. I have the Five of Crystals, and this is the Five of Pentacles. Seeking higher ground, seeking refuge, right? I feel like there's some type of calamity coming down. And this ladybug is all like, oh no, the ground's going to be impacted or affected. And so I'm seeking higher ground. I'm going to higher elevation. I'm seeking shelter. So it's a really beautiful card. It basically means that you're on the right track. Don't follow the herd. Don't follow the crowd. Seek higher wisdom, go up to higher ground, get a higher vantage point, because from there you're going to be able to see everything unfold, okay? So we have as well the Knight of Cups. This is charm and passion. And what I do feel is it's kind of echoing the same theme. This is sort of like, this animal is enclosed in a body of water, okay? So it's only pecking or looking for food or looking for shelter in its very small controlled environment, okay? So it's really asking you to venture out a little bit more, and it's also asking you to, you know, we've done the same thing over and over again, try something else. And so Leos, I hope this reading resonates with you. Once again, I apologize for the delay with this reading. I feel like the messages are pretty singular in that it's telling you to, really hold true, trust your instinct, trust your gut, because you know what you saw, you know what you experienced, and you know what you believe in. So don't waver on that front.